Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome to Government House, Yarralumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunawal. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, emerging leaders, and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders gathered here today. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Governor-General's Official Secretary. As this badge signifies with its cross quills, I'm also Secretary of the Order of Australia, whose Council recommends appointments and awards in the Order's General Division to the Governor-General, who is Chancellor of the Order of Australia and Principal Companion of the Order. I am also the Secretary to the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for bravery awards. Before we start this morning's ceremony, I'd like to acknowledge among our distinguished guests General Angus Campbell, Chief of Defence Force, Vice Admiral Michael Noonan, Chief of Navy, Brigadier Khalil Fegan, representing the Chief of Army, Air Vice Marshal Mel Hupfield, Chief of Air Force, Ms Mary Wiley-Smith, representing the Australian Public Service Commissioner, Mr Michael Crane, Chair, Order of Australia Association ACT Branch, and Mr Mark Hoskinson, representing the National President of the Australian Bravery Association. Ladies and gentlemen, the Australian Honour System provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise and celebrate ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Since inception in 1975, almost 400,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, bravery, military or national service. The Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising outstanding service. And it is important to note that nominations come from all areas of the community. Anyone can nominate. Today is a special day, not only for the recipients, but also for their families, friends and communities. It is a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. As staff at Government House, my colleagues and I are privileged to play a small part in that recognition and the celebration of that achievement. I hope we can help make today an occasion that you'll all recall with pride for some time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand as Your Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley enter the room and remain standing for the joining in of the singing of the Australian National Anthem. The investiture will then begin and proceed in the order listed in your programs. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter the room from the doorway on my right, and after they've been invested, will leave via the central aisle and take their seats at the back of the room to watch the remainder of the investiture. At this point, you may like to show your appreciation with a short applause as each recipient leaves the room. At the conclusion of the investiture, the Governor-General will say a few words. He'll then leave the room and I'll invite recipients to join Your Excellencies for a formal photograph on the state entrance stairs. To assist recipients in making their way to the state entrance, could I please ask that other guests remain seated in the room for a brief period and proceeding to the dining room for refreshments with Her Excellencies and guests. Their Excellencies and the recipients will then join you after the photographs have been taken. Please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Mrs Hurley, and remain standing for the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful it's Australia fair.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome from Linda and I and the staff here at Government House Yarralumla for a very special day in the lives of some perhaps apprehensive and nervous people sitting behind us in the rear. We're delighted to share this day with you. For us here at Government House, this day and the investitures we do earlier in the year are the highlights of the year. This is where, as the words have been spoken by the Chief Secretary, I think, we really acknowledge the richness of spirit in our country. Please relax. There's a lot of pomp about a day like today, but as there should be. It is such a special day. But this is an Australian Government House. You can relax, you can smile and enjoy the occasion. What I particularly like about our honours and awards system is a very strong characteristic it has, and this is a bottom-up system. This is a system in we, you, citizens of Australia, look around their communities and seek to have people's good work recognised. This is not a top-down system where someone sitting in Canberra a few kilometres from here might reach down and point, oh, that person's doing a good job, and give them a medal. This is your system. And on that note, I'm going to give you some homework when we have finished the ceremony this morning, when I make my final remarks. So please, though, today, reflect on what you see, the achievements of the people here. This is a day where we really celebrate what it means to be Australian. Thank you.
Your Excellency, to be presented with the insignia of his appointment as a companion in the General Division, Professor David Burke. For eminent service to neurophysiology, to innovative treatments for spinal cord and brain trauma injuries, and to professional medical organisations. Professor Burke is a preeminent leader in clinical neurophysiology research, mentorship and education. He has held a range of academic positions, recently as Professor in the Department of Neurology at the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. He has also served with the Prince of Wales Medical Research Institute and with the University of New South Wales. As one of the most influential neurologists of his generation, he's been at the forefront of developing the discipline nationally and internationally through his research and the translation of that research into clinical practice. Additionally, he has held the executive positions with the International Federation of Clinical Neurophysiology and the Australian and New Zealand Association of Neurologists. He was appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia in 1999 for his service to science and medicine, particularly in the field of clinical neurophysiology. His remarkable achievements, integrity and unselfish devotion to the advancement of his specialised field have earned him universal respect, along with the dedication and wide-ranging accomplishments within academia and professional organisations. Professor David Burke appointed a Companion of the Order. Appointed a Companion in the General Division, Ms Ida Buttrose, for eminent service to the community through leadership in the media, the arts and the health sector, and as a role model. Ms Buttrose is an exceptional Australian, a shining light within the media and arts sectors, whose leadership with not-for-profit community and health organisations has been inspirational. In a society where we aspire to harness the wisdom and skills of our role models, her immense generosity over decades of service has been invaluable. She is an accomplished communicator, an engaged contributor, and a powerful voice for the community, evidenced through her service as the National Ambassador for Dementia Australia and serving firstly as President and subsequently as Emeritus Director of Arthritis Australia. She's been most active in representational positions with the Macular Disease Foundation, Breast Cancer Network Australia, and as Chair of the AIDS Trust of Australia. She has generously given of her time to the Adelaide Arts Festival, the National Opera Festival, and the National Gallery of Australia. Her efforts have garnered a range of awards and recognition, including appointment as an Officer of the Order of Australia in 1988, and she was named Australian of the Year by the National Australia Day Council in 2013. Ms Buttrose's endeavours are enduring and profound, and she is deserving of our highest recognition and appreciation. Ms Ida Buttrose, appointed a Companion of the Order. Appointed a Companion in the General Division, Emeritus Professor Leo Radom, for eminent service to science, particularly to computational chemistry, as an academic, author and mentor, and to international scientific bodies. Professor Radom's work has showcased an extraordinary sense of determination, productivity and integrity. He was well ahead of his time, moving to the fledgling area of computational quantum chemistry early in his illustrious career, where he gained insight into chemical structures, properties and reactions through computer calculations. He provided dedicated professorial service to the School of Chemistry at the University of Sydney for 11 years and in the Research School of Chemistry at the Australian National University, commencing there as a Queen Elizabeth II Fellow in 1972, culminating as a Professor from 1991 to 2003. Internationally, he excelled as the President of the World Association of Theoretical and Computational Chemists from 2005 to 2011. He's also been the President of the Asia Pacific Association branch since 2009, which he also founded. For his contributions to science, he's been elected a Fellow of the leading Australian academies, Royal Societies and institutes. His passion has inspired generations of colleagues and students, and he has had a profound influence on the application of computational methods to chemistry and the broader chemical community, both nationally and internationally. Professor Radom is a true pioneer in his field. Emeritus Professor Leo Radom, appointed a Companion of the Order. Appointed a Companion in the General Division, Mr Dennis Richardson, for eminent service to public administration through leadership roles in the national security, defence and foreign policy arenas and to workplace cultural reform. Mr Richardson has made an exceptional contribution to Australia through the provision of executive leadership within this nation's public sector over many decades. The epitome of the professional public servant, he's been a trusted advisor of governments of both political persuasions and is held in high regard by those with whom he served. His time as Secretary of the Department of Defence from 2012 to 2017 saw the government's commissioning of a Defence White Paper in 2013 and a further White Paper published in 2016 detailing expansion of Defence's size and capabilities. He also served our nation with distinction as Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs from 2010 to 2012 and as our Ambassador to the United States from 2005 to 2010. He continues to apply highly valued efforts and characteristic aplomb to organisations encompassing sport, transport, planning and development, and wildlife conservation, including the Canberra Raiders, the National Capital Authority, Starflight Victoria, and the RSPCA. Mr. Richardson's work has brought great credit to our nation, and we have benefited enormously from his service. Mr. Dennis Richardson appointed a Companion of the Order.
Former departmental secretary when I was Chief of Defence Force. I had nothing to do with it.
Appointed a Companion in the General Division, Emeritus Professor Maree Smith. For eminent service to science through pioneering research and innovation in the treatment of neuropathic pain to gender equity and as a role model. Professor Smith is an outstanding scientist, inventor and entrepreneur with an international reputation in the field of biomedical sciences, especially in the area of chronic pain and the development of new pain therapeutics. Her achievements at the University of Queensland have seen her publish over 150 scientific papers, many in top-tier international journals, and deliver more than 90 invited lectures at national and international conferences and symposia. During her tenure as Executive Director of the University Centre for Integrated Preclinical Drug Development, she led a team with an outstanding record of assisting companies in the biopharmaceutical sector to progress innovative drugs and biologics through preclinical and clinical development stages. From 2005 to 2015, she brought innovation into more than 600 contract-funded research and development studies, collaborating with more than 200 Australian and international clients. However, what makes her work tower above others in the field has been her ability to translate basic scientific discoveries into potential therapeutic to treat patients with chronic pain, a disorder that afflicts 1 in 6 people worldwide. Professor Smith's contribution to Australia's biotechnology industry is without comparison, and she has been instrumental in training our scientists of the future. Emeritus Professor Maree Smith appointed a Companion of the Order. Appointed an Officer in the General Division, Mr. Martin Bowles, for distinguished service to public administration at the senior level and to policy development and program implementation. Mr. Bowles has provided outstanding commitment to the public sector over many years of dedicated service. He successfully implemented major policy reforms while encouraging and supporting a generation of public servants to perform at their best. As Secretary of the Department of Health from 2014 to 2017, and prior to that as Secretary of the Department of Immigration and Citizenship from 2011 to 2014, Mr. Bowles' practical, down-to-earth leadership earned him great respect and a reputation for high-achieving standard of a public administration with the ability to harness and channel the collective expertise of a group. His experience in the health sector, both at the federal and state level, has been extensive, and he continues his contribution to the community with his current leadership of the Calvary Health Care and representation on various safety and quality in healthcare task forces and commissions. Mr. Bowles' earlier achievements were recognised in 2012 when he was awarded the Public Service Medal, and he continues to serve our nation with great distinction. Mr. Martin Bowles appointed an Officer of the Order. Appointed an officer in the General Division, the Honourable Nicholas Minchin, for distinguished service to the Parliament of Australia, particularly in the industry and finance portfolios, and to the people of South Australia. Mr Minchin has rendered great service to the country and to the state of South Australia throughout his extensive political career. In federal Parliament, he held a range of high-profile ministerial positions, including as Minister for Finance and Administration, Minister for Industry, Science and Resources, and as Special Minister of State. He was Leader of the Government in the Senate and Vice President of the Executive Council. He was also responsible for several shadow ministry roles and devoted considerable energy to parliamentary committee duties. As Senator for South Australia, he was a consistent champion for his constituents, and his insight, character and high work ethic were of particular benefit to those he represented. Additionally, his contributions to public life continued in his role as Australia's Consul General in New York from 2014 to 2017. Mr Minchin maintains a continued interest in public policy issues, and he is most deserving of our recognition of his service. The Honourable Nicholas Minchin appointed an Officer of the Order. Appointed an officer in the Military Division, Air Vice Marshal Tracy Smart, for distinguished service in responsible positions to the Australian Defence Force in the fields of medical and health services. Air Vice Marshal Smart is a senior medical officer of rare skill and ability who has provided extraordinary service in a number of challenging senior appointments since 2010. She commenced her career with the Royal Australian Air Force in 1985 and from 2000 to 2013 served as the Director General of Garrison Health Operations. She was promoted to Air Vice Marshal in 2015 and in the same year to Commander Joint Health. At Joint Health Command, she was vital to structural redevelopment that substantially increased the financial rigour applied to health services delivery to our Defence Force, and she introduced revised governance and assurance systems and enhanced the value obtained from contracted health providers. She's also contributed to major reform within the Department of Veterans Affairs to ensure current and future veterans' needs are understood and effectively managed. Air Vice Marshal Smart has improved our military's health capability, and she's been key to major developments in mental health services provided to Defence Force members. Air Vice Marshal Tracy Smart appointed an Officer of the Order. Appointed a member in the General Division, Mr John Eades, for significant service to the law, to professional standards and to the community. Mr Eades has made an outstanding contribution to the practice of law and to the community of the Riverina. He has provided valued service in executive and committee roles within professional organisations, most notably as President of the Law Society of New South Wales and the Riverina Law Society. His commitment to the protection of legal rights and access to justice is exemplary. Similarly, his service to the Anglican Diocese of the Riverina and the New South Wales sheepdog workers is also noteworthy. Mr Eades is a highly regarded legal practitioner who exemplifies service above self and continues to positively impact the lives of the people in his local community. Mr John Eades appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the General Division, Mr Craig Hamilton, for significant service to public administration in defence policy. Mr Hamilton has been responsible for delivering highly capable, state-of-the-art technologies in support of military operations, particularly to our Special Forces. His leadership and performance of duty have provided assurance of special capability program security and assisted the forging and maintenance of strong relationships with our allied partners. An effective promoter of the Australian position, he consistently achieved remarkable outcomes in managing the Australian Signal Directorate technical relationship with the United States Armed Forces. Mr Hamilton has demonstrated exemplary service to Australia and our international allies throughout his career. Mr Craig Hamilton appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the General Division, Mrs Heather Henderson, for significant service to the community through the preservation of political history. Mrs Henderson has considerably enhanced our understanding and appreciation of the Menzies era, presenting history as a first-hand witness through her books Letters to My Daughter and A Smile for My Parents. Her dedicated efforts have ensured Australians have access to her memories, insights and primary resources, and her profound historical knowledge has helped to increase awareness of the unique nature of our democracy and to instil pride in it. A capable contributor to many organisations, including as a member of the Advisory Council for the Old Parliament House, Mrs Henderson's deep sense of civic duty has defined her life, and for that we are most grateful. Mrs Heather Henderson appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the General Division, Mr Peter Martin, for significant service to multi-platform and print media as an economics journalist. Mr Martin has developed a reputation as a journalist of integrity, rigour and compassion with a commitment to engage and inform his audience across various media platforms. He has contributed substantially to public education on a full range of public policy issues canvassed during his 30-year career, particularly as economics editor with The Age, the Canberra Times, SBS and the ABC. He has also inspired many younger journalists with his knowledge and insight. Mr Martin has added much to Australia's understanding of economics through his insightful reportage, and we recognise him for his contribution to our social fabric. Mr Peter Martin appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the General Division, Ms Louise Mayo, for significant service to vocational education and training and to the community. Ms Mayo is a passionate and inspiring leader within the vocational education and training sector in Canberra. Her contribution to the Australian Capital Territory Board of Senior Secondary Studies over a number of years is to be applauded. Additionally, her voluntary community service and her genuine and selfless commitment has seen her make a great difference to the lives of people in need, notably to those in palliative care and their loved ones. Ms Mayo is an exemplar of dedication, and this award is a fitting tribute to her service. Ms Louise Mayo appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the General Division, Professor Barbara Pamphilon, for significant service to higher education and to the community. Professor Pamphilon has provided innovative leadership with a focus on adult education and community development. Her roles at the University of Canberra are numerous, and she has been the foundation convener of a bilingual Masters of Education Leadership at Hangzhou Normal University in China for over 18 years. A trusted and much admired researcher and professional, she continues to empower women living in rural highland communities of Papua New Guinea through improving their economic literacy. She's also contributed in various capacities to a range of organisations, including the Australian National Museum of Education, the Department of Health and Ageing, and to the Australian Journal of Adult Learning. Professor Pamphilon is an inspiration to all and is deserving of our praise. Professor Barbara Pamphilon, appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the General Division, Dr. Christopher Pigram, for significant service to public administration, particularly through scientific leadership roles. Dr. Pigram has been instrumental in expanding the National Geosciences contribution to informed decision-making across a broad range of challenges, particularly as the Chief Executive Officer of Geoscience Australia. His commitment to modernising the sector, nurturing talent, and addressing gender inequality are hallmarks of his contributions and are reflected by the high respect in which he is held. His work with the CSIRO on the Future Science platform on deep earth imaging and also with the Mineral Resources and Advisory Council will no doubt greatly inform ongoing developments in these areas. Dr. Pigram has been a champion for diversity and has consistently provided wisdom and understanding of Australia's land and sea resources, which has benefited us all. Dr. Christopher Pigram, appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the Military Division, Commodore Darren Kavanagh, for exceptional performance of duty in the field of Navy capability management. Commodore Kavanagh has excelled in a number of complex acquisition project roles, implementing organisational change which will have significant long-term and positive benefits for our Navy. Since joining the Navy in 1984, he's undertaking project roles including as liaison officer for the joint US-Australian NOLCA decoy project, for which he was awarded the US Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, and as project director of the Lightweight Torpedo Replacement Project, which saw him awarded with a Conspicuous Service Cross. He has applied initiative and drive in order to deliver policy documentation and guidance to newly Navy capability projects. He's also authored a comprehensive report released by the Chief of Navy as guidance for the long-term adaptation of our Navy to meet the requirements of continuous shipbuilding. Commodore Kavanagh's lasting legacy will be robust seaworthiness management and assurance plans to guide these new capabilities throughout their periods in service. Commodore Darren Kavanagh, appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the Military Division, Warrant Officer of the Navy, Gary White, for exceptional service to the Royal Australian Navy in the field of Navy, people leadership and management. Warrant Officer White joined the Royal Australian Navy in 1987, where he qualified as a radio operator before undertaking submarine training. He served on a range of ships and submarines and was promoted to his current rank in 2006 and appointed by the Chief of Navy to Warrant Officer of the Navy in 2016. As Command Warrant Officer of the Navy People Career Management Agency, he led the redesign of the Warrant Officer Career Management Policy and Promotion Assessment Criteria. He has also been a strong advocate for greater opportunities and recognition of their professional skills. Warrant Officer White's contribution to the delivery of improved transparency and accountability practices will enable best practice workforce management outcomes, which will produce enduring benefits for our Defence Force. Warrant Officer Gary White appointed a member of the Order. Appointed a member in the Military Division, Commodore Malcolm Wise, for exceptional service as a Commander Combined Task Force 150 while deployed on Operation MANITOU from November 2017 to May 2018. Commodore Wise's leadership and dedication significantly stemmed the flow of narcotics across the Middle East and Western Indian Ocean region. He has held command at various times of 28 ships from 6 different nations, seizing a total of over 40 tonnes of illicit drugs worth $2.8 million. As a result of these seizures, the reputation of Australia's Navy on operations received widespread and significant acclaim, and the United Nations Organisation on Drugs and Organised Crime specifically requested that he address their annual briefing to government ministers. Through championing a variety of projects sponsored by the European Union, he increased the capacity of regional surveillance and command and control in Madagascar and the Seychelles. Commodore Wise's contribution to regional counter-narcotics and maritime security capability for developing nation-states was exceptional. Commodore Malcolm Wise appointed a member of the Order. Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr Terence Birtles, for service to the community through a range of roles. Mr Birtles has given energetic and steadfast service to the Canberra community, displaying strong commitment and devotion through his voluntary and professional work. He's been an active and highly valued contributor to a broad range of groups, including Lifeline, Youth Development, Rural Firefighting and the Uniting Church. His passion for education is evidenced by his tenure as Associate Professor in Applied Geography at the University of Canberra and then as Visiting Fellow at the School of Geography and Oceanography at the Australian Defence Force Academy. Mr Birtles is proof that one person can certainly make a difference, and he is most deserving of our thanks. Mr Terence Birtles awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the medal in the General Division, Major Anthony Cockburn, for service to youth. Major Cockburn has been a stalwart of Australian Army Cadets for almost 50 years. He's been Officer Commanding of the 24th Australian Army Cadet Battalion since 2012, and prior to that he performed roles as Second in Command and Area Liaison Officer for Southern New South Wales. He's made further major contribution to the development of young people through his distinguished teaching career. Major Cockburn's service has been recognised with his appointment as the Goulburn Mulwaree Citizen of the Year in 2016, and then with a Brigade Commander Bronze Commendation from Australian Army Cadets in 2018. Major Anthony Cockburn awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the medal in the General Division, the late Mr John Fay, to be accepted by his widow, Mrs Florence Fay, for service to National Wattle Day celebrations. Mr Fay founded and led the Wattle Day Association and was president of the association for 18 years. He was instrumental in ensuring that National Wattle Day was celebrated widely by Australians. He also chaired the Canberra Australia Day Committee for several years. A true patriot, Mr Fay's passion and energy to promote this day, as well as our national floral emblem, were driven by his vision to see the wattle as a symbol of unity. We are all indebted to Mr Fay for his efforts. Mrs Florence Fay accepts the award of the Medal of the Order on behalf of the late Mr John Fay. Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mrs Gail Ford, for service to the community of Canberra. Mrs Ford has been an outstanding member of the local community, contributing generously to Canberra's cultural and multicultural experience over many years. An enthusiastic and willing volunteer, she's helped to expand the horizons of people both young and old, principally through roles with the Canberra Choral Society and the Canberra Boys Choir. She's also initiated, organised and promoted cultural and educational exchanges and tours with Russia and Spain. Mrs Ford's achievements have been sustained, professional and far-reaching, and her dedication is most commendable. Mrs Gail Ford awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr John Ive, for service to the superfine wool growing industry. Mr Ive has actively championed conservation farming, working with various organisations to promote the environmental improvement of primary industry in Australia. As a grazier and land manager since 1980, his contribution also encompasses the superfine wool growing industry. He has been Regional Chairman and National Council Delegate for the Goulburn Yass region for the Australian Superfine Wool Growers Association. He has also devoted significant time, energy, skills and experience to a range of agricultural, animal ethics, farming and land care groups over many years. Mr Ive's application of scientific rigour to achieve sustainable production and a thriving flock have been most notable. Mr John Ive awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal in the General Division, Mrs Colette Mackay, for service to the community of the Australian Capital Territory. Mrs Mackay has been a major force within the volunteering community of the Australian Capital Territory. She has provided welcome support and encouragement for those diagnosed with breast cancer through Bosom Buddies ACT for over 12 years. She's also been an active member of the Friends of the National Arboretum, for which she was appointed a life member in 2018. A range of charitable organisations have benefited from a myriad of fundraising activities she has undertaken, with no task beyond her and no challenge too tough to conquer. Mrs Mackay's selfless dedication to community, health and philanthropic causes and to Canberra's inhabitants is remarkable. Mrs Colette Mackay awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal in the General Division, Squadron Leader Gary Oakley, for service to the Indigenous community through a range of organisations. Squadron Leader Oakley has established a reputation as an expert in Australian Indigenous military history and has given much time and effort to veterans' issues. Through his work as a curator and liaison officer at the Australian War Memorial and as an Indigenous historical custodian with the Royal Australian Air Force, he has demonstrated steadfast commitment to both current and former Indigenous service personnel. Similarly, his position to improve welfare outcomes for ex-service personnel and his service as a member of the Royal Australian Air Force is to be commended. Squadron Leader Oakley's contributions have had a national impact with positive, enduring effects. Squadron Leader Gary Oakley awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal in the General Division, Mrs Vivien Palmer, for service to education and to the community. Mrs Palmer achieved excellence in the provision of caring, safe and supportive environments for children throughout her career in education. As principal of Richardson Primary School and previously of Isabella Plains Primary School, she fostered a strong sense of community within those schools. Another hallmark of her service is the Dare to Lead program to improve educational outcomes for Indigenous students, which she has pioneered in the Canberra region. Mrs Palmer continues to give back to the community through dedicated contributions to the local Australians for Native Title and Reconciliation organisation. Mrs Vivien Palmer awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal in the General Division, Mrs Jane Smyth, for service to the community of Canberra. Mrs Smyth has devoted many years of unstinting service to a range of groups in Canberra, particularly with a focus on early childhood education and support for children. Through her roles with the Canberra Mothercraft Society, she has been instrumental in the provision of professional health and social services to families of young children in the ACT and surrounding areas of New South Wales. She's also the founder and director of the Working and Parenting Organisation and has been involved with the Emergency Management Committee of Canberra's Emergency Services Authority. She's also acted as a spokesperson for those who lost their homes in the devastating 2003 Canberra bushfires. Many people in the Canberra region owe Mrs Smyth a debt of gratitude for her commitment. Mrs. Jane Smyth awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the medal in the General Division, Mr. Michael Sparks, for service to community health. Mr. Sparks has played a substantial role in the public health sector through roles with a range of organisations at the local, national and international level. In his position as the President of the International Union for Health Promotion and Education and with the Australian Health Promotion Association, his focus has been on the improvement of outcomes and practical on-the-ground action. As convener of the Public Health Program at the University of Canberra and as inaugural Director of the Health Improvement Branch with ACT Health, he worked tirelessly and displayed valuable leadership, compassion and care. Mr. Sparks' strength of purpose and dedication to giving back to the community is most notable. Mr. Michael Sparks awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the medal in the Military Division, Commander Robert Eames, for meritorious service in the fields of international engagement and capability management. Commander Eames has provided enduring support and expertise to our Navy since joining the service in 1965. He saw service in a number of Her Majesty's Australian ships, and after promotion to Commander in 1984, he was posted as Commanding Officer of HMAS Coonawarra. Since transferring to the Navy Reserves in 1992, he has demonstrated a sustained contribution to the field of international engagement. This has included the development of the Navy's International Engagement Plan, which has guided the service's international activities and directly resulted in efficiencies which have enabled additional capacity for staff to increase their efforts. Since the inception of Commander Eames's plan, Australia has formalised an additional 5 relationships with overseas navies, reinforcing our position as a strategic partner of choice. Commander Robert Eames awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the medal in the Military Division, Warrant Officer Brett Nichols, for meritorious service in personnel capability development, prohibitive substance testing, cultural change management and trainee leadership in the Royal Australian Air Force. Warrant Officer Nichols is an exemplary professional who has delivered a range of lasting benefits for the Royal Australian Air Force. He coordinated significant practical evolution in the approach to personal fitness training undertaken in Air Force Training Group schools, improving graduation success rates and the well-being of students. While serving as Group Warrant Officer of Air Force Training Group from 2015 to 2018, he was vital in managing cultural change during the implementation of a number of initiatives with wide-ranging impacts. Warrant Officer Nichols was key to advancing illicit substance testing processes and procedures, and he promoted air power awareness across the training domain. Warrant Officer Brett Nichols awarded the Medal of the Order. We move now to the Distinguished Service Decorations. Awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, Colonel Robert Calhoun, for distinguished command and leadership in warlike operations while deployed as a commander of Task Group Taji 6 in Iraq from December 2017 to June 2018. Colonel Calhoun's stewardship of Task Group Taji 6 contributed to reducing the operational freedom of Daesh forces in the North Baghdad area. His centralised training facility design and support methodology were highly regarded, and over a 6-month period, his task group trained 5,900 Iraqi security force personnel. The commander of Combined Joint Task Force Operation Inherent Resolve directed that Colonel Calhoun's design be rolled out by coalition forces to establish similar facilities in other parts of Iraq. The success of Colonel Calhoun's mission ensured that the safety and security of Australian Defence Force personnel and coalition forces based at Taji Military Complex, as well as a safer environment for the citizens of Baghdad. Colonel Robert Calhoun awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. Awarded the Distinguished Service Medal, Brigadier Craig Short, for distinguished leadership in warlike operations as the CJ3 Chief of Operations, Headquarters Resolute Support, Kabul, while deployed on Operation High Road in Afghanistan over the period September 2016 to October 2017. Brigadier Short expertly led a multinational team in Headquarters Resolute Support and coordinated all coalition operations across Afghanistan, including the United States-led Operation Freedom Sentinel for counter-terrorism operation against Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. He played a crucial capacity-building role by advising and mentoring his counterparts in the Afghan Ministry of Defence and the Ministry of the Interior. He developed close relationships with his counterparts in the Afghan National Military Command Centre to ensure Afghan security force operations and coalition operations were closely synchronised. Brigadier Short's understanding of strategy and of Afghan culture directly contributed to battlefield successes in Afghanistan in 2017. Brigadier Craig Short awarded the Distinguished Service Medal.
For his father, and I knew him when he was a scout. So.
Awarded the Commendation for Distinguished Service, Squadron Leader Simon Longley, for distinguished performance of duties in warlike operations as the Senior Offensive Duty Officer of the 609th Air Operations Centre on Operation Okra from October 2017 to April 2018. Squadron Leader Longley exhibited superior air combat mastery in deliberate strike and close air support operations whilst deployed in the Combined Air Operations Centre on Operation Okra. As a Senior Offensive Duty Officer, he was responsible for leading the operations room, interpreting rules of engagement and authorising the deployment of assets. He quickly assessed complex combat situations and led the development of weapons employment solutions. His superior leadership of the operations room was critical in establishing credibility with senior combined air operations officers to support air combat offensives. Squadron Leader Longley's actions during coalition air responses to enemy ground attack on numerous occasions delivered effective air power in support of friendly ground forces. Squadron Leader Simon Longley awarded the Commendation for Distinguished Service. We move now to the Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Colonel Christopher Order, for outstanding devotion to duty as the Commanding Officer, Defence Force School of Intelligence, Defence Command Support Training Centre. Colonel Order joined the Army in 1995 and commissioned into the Australian Intelligence Corps in 1998. He served in a range of appointments in Army headquarters and deployed on operations in the Solomon Islands and the Middle East area of operations. As Commanding Officer, Defence Force School of Intelligence, he reviewed all of Defence's intelligence training courses, resulting in 87 improvements. These improvements have reinvigorated intelligence training and have led to greater efficiency and improved the overall quality of training. His commitment to training delivery has resulted in student completion rates at the school being 96%, the highest level thus far. Colonel Order's efforts have significantly enhanced our Defence Force's international reputation in the intelligence domain. Colonel Christopher Order awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Colonel Andrew Habig, for outstanding devotion to duty in the establishment of the Joint Experimentation Directorate and Joint Experimentation Framework within Defence. Colonel Habig was appointed to the Army in 1991 and allocated to the Royal Australian Artillery, where he served in a range of appointments, including operational service in Timor-Leste and Afghanistan. He was appointed in 2016 to the newly formed Force Design Division and tasked with establishing the First Principles Review. In this role, his design of the Joint Experimentation Framework laid the foundation to support Defence's objectives. Additionally, in partnership with the United States Naval Postgraduate School, he instigated the annual Joint Analytical Wargaming course to prepare staff for demanding roles in experimentation. Colonel Habig's achievements have directly enabled strategic decisions that will benefit the future structure of our Defence Force. Colonel Andrew Habig awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Lieutenant Lachlan Blair, for meritorious devotion to duty as the Operational Intelligence Analyst whilst deployed in the Middle East for Combined Task Force 150 as part of Operation MANITOU from November 2017 to May 2018. Lieutenant Blair consistently displayed initiative and professional excellence in his role as the Intelligence Analyst. He delivered actionable intelligence to both command and subordinate units, which led to 19 successful narcotics hauls involving almost 40,000 kilograms of illicit drugs. This record volume of illicit drugs, valued at $2.7 billion, significantly impacted land-based narcotics cartels and funding sources for terrorist organisations in the Middle East region. Lieutenant Blair developed and maintained close working relationships with coalition partners, including the United Kingdom's National Crime Agency and the United States Drug Enforcement Agency, as well as other law enforcement and intelligence services based in Bahrain and across East Africa. Lieutenant Lachlan Blair awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. We move now to the Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr. Robert Bollard, for outstanding public service through the delivery of initiatives to improve IP Australia's customer services and processes. Mr. Bollard began his career at IP Australia in 2001, and after serving in a range of roles, he is currently Chief Information Officer and General Manager of the Innovation and Technology Group. His commitment, skills and expertise have now placed the organisation at the forefront of both Australian Government digital service delivery and foreign intellectual property offices. His considered strategic direction has resulted in enhanced customer experience and significantly improved administrative processes and procedures. IP Australia, through Mr. Bollard's efforts, is now recognised as a global innovator, which has resulted in improved benefits to its clients and showcased the professionalism and expertise of Australia's public sector. Mr. Robert Bollard awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Michelle Lauder, for outstanding public service to natural resource management and forest policy development and implementation. Ms. Lauder is a highly respected and experienced public servant who has developed and implemented practical policies for sustainable use and management of our natural resources. As an officer within the Department of Agriculture since 2007 and currently as Assistant Secretary of the Forestry Portfolio, her many achievements have resulted in enduring benefits for industry, communities and the environment. In 2018, she delivered the government's National Forest Industry Plan, Growing a Better Australia, 1 Billion Trees for Jobs and Growth, the first National Forest Statement since 1992. Ms. Lauder's superior skills and her ability to design and deliver practical solutions make her an outstanding candidate for today's recognition. Ms. Michelle Lauder awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr. Matthew Ramage, for outstanding public service through contributions to enhancing Australia's national security and economic prosperity. Mr. Ramage has made a major contribution across policy development, program delivery and stakeholder engagement areas, particularly in support of the Australian Government's defence industry agenda. As Assistant Secretary of the Department of Defence since 2018 and prior to that in other senior roles, he has been instrumental in policy design to build a sovereign defence industry. He's also been responsible for delivering the first defence export strategy. Mr. Ramage has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to creating a solid foundation to help secure our long-term defence, national security and economic prosperity. Mr. Matthew Ramage awarded the Public Service Medal. Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr. Stephen Perry, for distinguished service to ACT Fire and Rescue. Mr. Perry has demonstrated significant commitment to the citizens of Canberra throughout his more than 22-year career. Since joining the then ACT Fire Brigade following a career in the Royal Australian Navy, he has served in a number of roles and has been at the forefront of the development and delivery of training programs. He was promoted to the rank of Station Officer in 2010 and has attained specialist qualifications, including as a Hazmat Level 2 technician and as an operator and instructor in the newly acquired compressed air foam system, which were introduced to the ACT Fire and Rescue after the catastrophic Canberra fires in 2003. Mr Perry's dedication to improving the training and skills of firefighters has contributed greatly to the safety of our local community. Mr Stephen Perry awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal. Awarded the Emergency Services Medal, Mr Glenn Falcon, for distinguished service to Marine Rescue New South Wales. Mr Falcon has served the community as a volunteer member of Marine Rescue Batemans Bay for over 10 years. As a rescue vessel crew member and Marine Rescue Master, he is deployed on numerous missions, often in challenging conditions. He has contributed to the operation, resourcing and management of his unit in a range of roles and has made a sustained contribution to its professional development. Additionally, his service as a board member of Marine Rescue New South Wales and as a trainer and assessor are also most notable, and he is assisted with the foundation of the Marine Rescue Moama unit. Mr Falcon is the epitome of an Australian Emergency Services volunteer. Mr Glenn Falcon awarded the Emergency Services Medal. We now come to the Australian Bravery Decorations. These awards honour those who, without pause, have placed the safety and lives of others before their own. They have selflessly braved the most dangerous conditions, and we are a stronger and safer nation because of them. Awarded the Group Bravery Citation, Dr Dominic Morgan. On the evening of 25th of April 2006, a substantial rockfall incident occurred underground at the Beaconsfield Gold Mine in northern Tasmania, where 17 miners were working, killing one and trapping two others almost 1 kilometre below the surface. When rescuers made contact with the two trapped men, a small hole was drilled through the rock to install a pipe in order to assist in the provision of water, food and communications equipment. Dr Morgan, an expert in the field of clinical mines rescue, was part of a special casualty access team with New South Wales Ambulance deployed to Tasmania to assist. In the hazardous, unstable mine, he and other members of the paramedic team attending to the trapped men focused on their psychological well-being, health and safety, and managed the expectations of the rescue team during an intense and complex situation. Throughout this time, rescue teams were drilling, boring and blasting their way closer to the trapped men, with the miners being rescued on the 9th of May 2006. Dr Dominic Morgan awarded the Group Bravery Citation.
Currently the Commissioner of the Ambulance Service in New South Wales, so you can see he's come a long way since that event, but we've known each other the last 4.5 years, so real privilege to present today. Thank you.
Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, that completes this morning's presentation, and I now invite the Governor-General to speak.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've acknowledged each of our recipients today individually. I think it would be appropriate now to acknowledge them as a group and congratulate them. Now, you've seen the breadth of achievements, commitment to community, services rendered by our group today. Back in your communities, you know people of similar ilk. You would have noticed one thing today, the ratio of men to women was about 2 to 1. Now that doesn't represent where we're at overall at the present time. Nearly 40% of our recipients are women, but that's not good enough, and we need to increase that. Your homework. Go home, look in your community and see people who are providing service that you've seen today. Nominate them. The system is much easier than it used to be. For the IT savvy youngsters, it's all online. For those older like me who might need a bit of assistance from the youngsters, you can still do it online. We've made it a lot easier. But please, go back home, reflect, look around. You know who these people are and who we should be recognising for their service. Numbers are not an issue. Quality of service, commitment to Australia and to a community is what we're seeking to acknowledge. So thank you again. I forgot to say at the front, at the beginning, I was a bit nervous today because this is my first investiture here at Government House, Yarralumla as well. So I think we've reasonably successfully got through it, but it's been indeed a great privilege, as I've said to every one of the people who've come through. It's a great joy for me to be able to present them with these awards today. So thank you for what you have done in the rear room. Linda and I now look forward to meeting you all as we leave this room and go and engage in our social side of the event today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, to assist you with the homework that the Governor-General has set, the online nomination form is available on the Governor-General's website. You never know, they may even receive an award at a ceremony similar to this one in the future. I now invite today's recipients to join their Excellencies for photographs on the state entrance stairs. Please stand for their departure. Thank you, and as the recipients make their way to the state entrance stairs for the formal photograph, I invite guests to move to the dining room where refreshments will be served, and shortly you'll be joined by their Excellencies and recipients. Thank you and good morning.